Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
And I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Friend Not to Wear Makeup or Get Too Dressed Up for My Birthday Dinner? I hosted a small dinner with some friends for my birthday. It was really nice and fancy, and obviously I got dressed up for it and I was looking great. I have this friend Bella who tries too hard when she gets dressed up for things, and she tries to act like the star of the show. She will do her makeup and wear some really attractive outfit, and then all of a sudden all the eyes are on her and she gets all the attention. For my birthday, I didn't want this to happen or for her to steal the attention from me since it was my special day. I texted her and told her that this was a casual dinner and that no one was getting dressed up and not to dress too fancy or do any makeup. She comes to my dinner and everyone is pretty well done up and she is wearing jeans and a normal shirt with a little bit of makeup. She got upset at me and asked me why I lied to her and said not to get dressed up, and she said that she felt out of place and awkward. I told her that she can live without getting attention for one night. She got really angry and left, and our mutual friend said that I was a jerk, while some of the other girls I knew were on my side, saying that she can let me have the spotlight for one night. The most annoying part is that she was still getting attention from everyone and the guys, even when she was dressed like garbage, so I don't know why she was upset. She still got what she wanted. Am I a jerk?
Yes.
But I mean, it's just a little bit of a lie, a little white lie.
She wanted to feel good too.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about this is it seems like this person's so jealous and so insecure that the spotlight was going to be taken away from them on their birthday.
Like, why are you even friends with this person?
Yeah, well, it seems like, well, the question is, why is her friend friends with OP?
Yes, yeah, exactly. If OP's like this, why are you friends with her? But like, if you're this jealous over her looks that you have to like, this reminds me of the people who like try to pick like their ugliest friends to be their bridesmaids so they don't get upstaged on their wedding.
Yeah. It's like, why would you lie to someone about it being a non-formal event and then get upset when they still garnered all the attention? And they probably garnered the attention because they were so out of place too.
Or just they're a very magnetic person. Some people are very like, I am not that at all, but there are people who like, well, you'll just gravitate to because they're really like social butterflies and have really engaging personalities. Yeah,
well, and it sounds like she was able to play it off well enough, but she was still a little embarrassed about being underdressed.
And I definitely get that. Like, if I was told not to dress up and then I get there and everyone else is dressed up, I'm going to be like, oh no, like, I'm going to want to run right out that door. So I definitely get why the friend is upset over this. Like,
yeah, well, it's not good to be overdressed or underdressed.
Well, I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed.
I don't know. I've been overdressed sometimes. Like, there was an event. I don't remember what it was. And I dressed up in a suit and tie, and I arrived there, and basically everyone was just wearing, like, button-down shirts without ties. And it's like, well, I feel out of place. So I don't know. I think either way it feels a little awkward, but for this poor woman, I mean, I know that I seriously doubt that she is stealing the attention in quite the way that OP is presenting it.
Yeah.
Just because of how OP's like, she still got the attention that she wanted.
Right. It's clearly not just like she has jaw-dropping good looks. Like, she may be good looking, but it just sounds like she has a personality that draws people to her.
Yeah. So, yeah, OP, sorry. I think you're a jerk here. Don't know why this person's even a friend with you, given how you just treated them like garbage. So
right. And if this is someone whose friendship you value, it would have been fine to, like, have a conversation.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe be like, hey, you know, I feel like I get upstaged when you're around. Do you think you could tone it down a little?
Yeah.
But don't lie to her about the nature of the event. Oh, yeah.
Like, use your words. Don't passive aggressively try to solve your problems.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just talk to her and, you know, do like what Amber said and be like, hey, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, like that would have gotten you a lot farther. And maybe she's not going to like that, and maybe she's still going to want to dress up, and that's her right.
Yeah.
But don't lie to her and be like, oh, this is casual, just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for punishing my kids for refusing to call their uncle's new wife aunt? So my brother recently got married to his second wife. Let's call her Jennifer. My brother, who's 45, and his ex-wife Allison, who's 47, have 4 daughters, and him and Jennifer, 24, just found out that they are having a son.
I just want to make sure everyone knows that he's 45 and he's married to a 24-year-old.
Yes.
I just want to point that out.
Yes, that will be important later.
It's important later.
With the exception of me, nobody in my entire extended family, with the exception of my parents, attended the wedding. My ex-wife had my daughter, who's 16, and son, who's 12, that weekend, and all 3 of them refused to attend. My daughter and son would constantly visit their former aunt. They would come back talking about how they feel bad because she would sit in her new apartment and cry her eyes out. My daughter said it's sad that someone who was an Emory University graduate has to work 2 part-time jobs now because she gave up a career in the field that she loved to care for her kids. While I understand my kids' sympathy, I'm also getting tired of so many people sharpening their pitchforks over this family situation and the really mean comments I'd hear my kids either make or repeat. Like my son saying he was surprised when he saw Jennifer for the first time because his uncle described her as a beautiful woman, and he actually thought Jennifer was the beautiful woman standing nearby and went to introduce himself to that one. My daughter and a bunch of other family friends have also in many varying words called Jennifer interesting looking or okay looking, I guess. They have made fun of my brother for marrying someone who never graduated college when he said that his ex-wife wasn't capable of deep intellectual conversations with him anymore. I took the kids to visit their uncle and new aunt this weekend. I told them Jennifer told them many times to call her Aunt Jennifer, but they have always not done so, and to please start doing this. We get there, and throughout the dinner, my daughter calls her Jennifer, and my son calls her Mrs. Last Name. Jennifer looked disheartened by the end of dinner. When we get home, I told them I was tired of them taking part in the bullying of someone who will be the mother of their new cousin and grounded them for the rest of the weekend. I also reminded them the definition of aunt and the fact that, legally speaking, the woman they call aunt isn't even their aunt. Am I the jerk for sticking up for a poor woman who's probably had enough of being treated like a trade down? My brother said he loves this woman more than anything. I don't need my kids to stop calling my brother's ex aunt, but I feel Jennifer deserves the respect.
All right, and there's actually a comment here.
There's a very important comment here, too. Info, did the uncle cheat on the ex-wife? And OP replies, there was overlap, but their marriage had been rocky for a long time. So, just to get it straight, OP's brother cheated on his wife that he has 4 children with a 24-year-old and knocked her up. And that's the woman that they want, this OP wants to be called aunt.
The one thing that I actually feel really bad about this in this situation is if everyone is bullying Jennifer. Like, I don't think that's cool in any situation.
Certainly.
And I honestly, if Jennifer is the butt of jokes and stuff like that and everything, like, that's not good.
Right, and I think that the OP's brother has as much to do with this as Jennifer, if not more so. So he should be getting as much disdain. Like, I feel like, unfortunately, when there's affairs and relationships, a lot of times the woman bears the brunt of the disgust, and that's not okay.
Yeah, well, certainly both of them have made their bed. And I think that this is a really sad situation for at least the ex-wife. And it sounds like she was, treated pretty badly by her now ex-husband, and, like, he's claiming that I can't have an intellectual conversation with you anymore when he marries someone who hasn't graduated college. Not that the education has anything to do with, like, intellect. Like, maybe she's able to have very deep conversations here, but it just seems like if why would you not be able to have a deep intellectual conversation with your ex-wife?
Right. It seems like he's kind of arrogant and is fishing for reasons like, oh, well, she just doesn't live up to my intellectual level, because she, this or that.
Because for all we know, Jennifer could be a genius.
Yeah.
Like, she could be brilliant and, massive intellectual. But the fact is that, surely he could still carry on an intellectual conversation with his ex-wife.
Right. It's not like being a wife and a mother just zapped all her intellectual abilities. And that's what he makes it sound like.
Exactly. Suddenly, one day, she just was dumb.
Yeah. Oh, I had these kids. Now my brain's gone.
Yeah. Oh, where did my brain go?
So, and I think it's understandable that the kids in the situation are going to be feeling really torn.
Well, and look at the age gap between the kids.
Yeah.
16 and 12, and he wants them to call a 24-year-old their aunt.
Right.
I mean, that's a little unreasonable if you ask me.
I agree completely. Like, this woman is not anyone that they haven't grown up knowing her as aunt. Because there are some families where there are aunts and uncles who aren't much different in age than the kids. I actually grew up with someone who his uncle was younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens sometimes. But because of these dynamics, this is just some random woman who's entered their life very quickly. And to expect them to call this woman they have no relationship with aunt just because she married their uncle doesn't feel reasonable.
No, I don't think it's reasonable. And if this is one of those things where if you push it, then it's never going to happen.
Yeah. And I also think he's being unfair trying to, I know he says he doesn't need them to stop calling their former aunt, but referring to her as former aunt is deeply problematic.
Well, that is actually really problematic because she's still their aunt.
Yeah.
And she's more of an aunt to them than this new woman.
Right.
Here.
Like, it seems like the dad in this OP just wants the kids to, swap out one woman for the other. Oh, this is your new aunt now.
Yeah. This is your new aunt. Forget about your old one.
And he doesn't really think about how much of an emotional toll this has taken on his kids or their needs. I understand that his brother is having a not so fun time, but his brother made this a not so fun time by knocking up a 24-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what this boils down to. Don't force your kids to call their uncle's new wife aunt. Plain and simple. Yes, you're the jerk. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Saying That a 31-Year-Old Woman Looked Great for Her Age?
I got really outraged at this one just from the title.
One of my ex-coworkers, I changed companies, let's call her Linda, wanted to set me up on a date where we were talking over FaceTime and she was sending me pictures and asking me if I was interested. In general, a lot of the women that she sent me really weren't my type. Linda then sent me a picture of this woman who I found actually pretty attractive. I asked about what she does and how old she was, and Linda was like, she works as an RN and is 31. I was like, wow, she looks great for her age. I meant it purely as a compliment because I thought she looked younger. And instead, Linda just snaps at me and gets angry and says, why would I say that? That I think women my age are too old for me. I was like, no, it was a compliment. And she was like, why couldn't you just say that you like how she looked and thought she was beautiful? I didn't want to argue with her, and I was like, okay, let's just talk later. What a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
A 31-year-old, this 31-year-old is just old looking.
As a 30-year-old, this one just, got me got under my skin pretty good because, of course, the converse, when you say if someone looks good for their age, that means most people their age don't look good. And so him basically insinuating that any woman over 30 does not look good is that's why Linda was not very happy with you.
No. I mean, what group of people are you looking for a partner in? Have you just been trolling the 20-year-old section? We don't know how old OP is, but I'm guessing that he must be in his 30s with the response that Linda made.
Yeah, it makes it sound like he's in his 30s. So.
Yeah. When you say someone looks good for their age, it becomes a compliment if that person's 70 and you're like, wow, that person looks like they're 30.
Yeah, like there's a huge difference. I mean, I don't know if it's ever like a great thing
It's
because
not
the
like the
converse
best.
is always that they don't look good. But certainly if you say that to someone who's like fairly young in the scheme of things, you're like, oh yeah, that 31-year-old looks great for her age. Then all the other 30-plus-year-old women are going to be like, wait, run that by me again?
Yeah, and how old is Linda here?
Right.
Linda might be her 30 or 31.
I'm guessing she's more like 50. It's like, I think she's playing matchmaker. Well, I mean, maybe she could be in her 30s and these are her friends. But I just kind of pictured her as like this little old lady with glasses trying to set him up with like her grandchildren or something.
Yeah, that's a great visualization. I didn't envision that. I just thought Linda was some friend, but I like your vision better. Linda playing matchmaker. So no, if you're out there, don't ever use this as a compliment. Just say, wow, I think they look great.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to bring age into it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and sometimes we just kind of like are really surprised by someone's age. Like, even if you had been more like, wow, she's 31, to be like, oh, really? I thought she was like 25. That would have been like a lot more reasonable than, wow, she looks great for her age.
Yeah, yeah.
But just generally, you don't need to bring age into it. Just be like, wow, she's really pretty. Our last story for today is, would I be the jerk for emasculating my father? So for some background, I'm a 19-year-old female, and my parents fat shame me a lot. I'm not overweight, but my weight isn't at the best it could be. However, I go to the gym 3 times a week and try to eat healthy. So earlier tonight, I was eating a sandwich for dinner when my dad, who's 66, went, I thought you were trying to eat healthy. You would be in better shape if you did hot yoga 3 times a week like I do. As someone who struggled a lot with my weight in the past, this really hurt, especially since he said it unprompted. I ended up going to my mom, who's 52, about it, telling her all the progress I've made at the gym and how much I can lift now, etc. Before I started going, I literally never worked out. Now I go 3 times a week. I said, I'm the healthiest I've ever been, and she straight up said, no, you're not, in a condescending tone, because I haven't lost as much weight as she'd like, but I'm so much stronger and I have a lot more endurance now. I came up with an idea then. I invited my mom to go to the gym so she could try the workouts that I do with me. I've worked for almost a year to get where I am now. Hot yoga, which my mom does too, is definitely an intense exercise, but I work out in a completely different way than my parents do. Anyway, she was down for it. When I brought up inviting my dad too, she was super against it suddenly. When I asked why, she said he wouldn't be able to keep up with me or lift the same that I do. I get that he hurt your feelings, but he used to be 2 times his current size and can't lift as much as he thinks he can. You don't want to emasculate him by proving his daughter is stronger than he is.
But we do.
Yeah. I'm like, isn't that kind of the point? Not to hurt him, but to prove that I'm putting in the work so he stops making comments about my body and my lifestyle choices. But she basically said there's no way to win and I should just give up, which in my mind means continue to let him fat shame me. I think I would be the jerk because if emasculating my father gets him to stop fat shaming me, then maybe so be it. So would I be the jerk for supposedly emasculating my father? No.
No, I don't actually think this is even emasculating. Like, maybe this would give him motivation to actually exercise if he really is that concerned about people's weights and fitness levels. And this is horrible. Like, poor OP here.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, weight and health are not synonymous.
Oh, exactly.
Like, OP working out at the gym 3 times a week, it sounds like she's really active, and that's awesome. And it also sounds, I mean, eating a sandwich for dinner isn't like the pinnacle
horrors
of
horrors.
You know? So here you have, this girl who is, by all accounts, very healthy, but because she's not the weight her parents want her to be, they're like, oh, you need to do hot yoga with us 3 times a week.
Yeah, well, and that's just such a weird thing that that the mom would feel like this would be emasculating for the father too. Like, I don't know. Like, the father is just such a jerk in this situation. Both parents are jerks in this situation. They really are.
They are.
They deserve to be called out. They deserve to be shown up. And I hope that they both go to her yoga class and get shown up by her.
Yeah, because if you're criticizing someone else for being unhealthy,
yeah,
and then like put your money where your mouth is,
yeah.
Prove that you are as strong and healthy as you claim to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Just on a little bit of a tangent. So when I was in 7th grade, I was on the girls' B basketball team. And I was the worst player on my team. I could not throw a basket if my life depended on it. But we actually had a really strong B team. We ended up winning the championships for our region. Our boys' team was horrible. And everyone knew that if the girls played the boys, we would crush them. But they wouldn't let us play because they didn't want us emasculating them.
Those poor boys and their fragile egos.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you didn't, consider giving me a thumbs down. Also, thanks for Amber joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
She also picked out the story. She picks out the stories like a lot for me these days because I've just been really busy.
I give him a little bit of a selection. He picks the final stories.
She filters them for me and then I filter them down further. But we usually sit down and look over them for the last, figuring out which ones are the most interesting. So thanks, Amber. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, and let Amber know if you enjoyed her surprise visit today. It wasn't scheduled, so yeah. This schedule is just kind of off the rails. I don't even know.
Also, if you need to know Brian's favorite color, I know it.
Amber's
just saying. Yeah, that's still running until next week or something?
Yeah.
So remember to guess Brian's favorite color.
Yeah. Well, I think, if people guessed it in this video, I would be fine with that too. So, I don't know. You guess my favorite color. Why not? If there's 5 people who guess, then I'll reveal it. All right, well, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.